he'd always say that, "Hey, Mom, can we talk?" Um, um, sorry. He just said that he wasn't, it was hard. It was hard to develop relation, thank you, relationships with the other kids there. He just had a hard time.
When you told him that he could always come back to his roots, was that something that he felt comfort in?
Of course.
He liked spending time on the water with his family.
Yes. He liked being with his family.
Was he someone that when he was with you and at your home, did he go out frequently on the weekends or at night?
No. No.
Did he have a cell phone?
Yes.
And how would you describe his activity with the cell phone?
Well, he's more activity than me, so he would text a lot, like most teenagers, and on Twitter or Facebook or...
What about computers? Did he have access to computers?
Yes.
What kind of a computer did he have?
He had a laptop, and he had our family computer.
And stepping back to the time that he was up at Fitchburg, did he eventually leave Fitchburg?
Yes, he said he wanted to come home, and I said, that's fine.
And when was that he left Fitchburg and came back to Mattapoisett?
It was in June.
So how long would he have been up there?
He wasn't even there more than a few days.
And this was the June of 2014?
Yes.
The computers that you mentioned, at some point did you turn those over to the police?
Yes.
Prior to 2014, did you ever see or meet Michelle Carter?
Yes.
Where was that?
At his baseball game in Marion, 2013.
And let's talk about that. When you saw her, were you introduced to her?
Yes.
And who introduced you?
She did. She introduced herself to me.
And what did she tell you?
I'm Michelle.
Did you have any understanding at that point whether or not she was just a friend or more than a friend?
I just thought it was a friend that he liked.
Okay. Did you see Michelle Carter present in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Could you please point to her and identify something that she's wearing?
I don't know. A red shirt. Looks
Regarding
like...
the record reflect identification of the defendant.
Yes, the record will so reflect.
So in 2013, what was your understanding of the relationship between the defendant and Michelle Carter?
I thought they were just friends. They live far away, so...
Where do you know, or where did she live?
Plainville.
Over that period of time, did you ever know that they were in communication by either social media or texting?
Yeah, I saw him text her all the time.
And how do you know it was her that he was texting?
Because I saw Michelle Carter on his phone.
And when was that you saw him texting her?
Often it was a couple of months before he died.
Did he ever talk to you about his relationship with her, say in 2014? Did he ever talk about her?
No, not at all.
In 2014, did he ever express to you any intent to harm himself?
No.
I'm going to direct your attention now to July of 2014. Where were you living at that time?
I was in Fairhaven.
And at that point, was Conrad still splitting his time between you and his dad?
Yes.
Where did he sleep at the house in Fairhaven?
He slept in the bedroom.
Was he working at the time?
Yes.
Where was he working?
With his dad.
Has he ever not worked with his father?
Maybe for a week here and there. That's about it.
In July of 2014, did you have any concerns about his mental health?
I knew he was a little depressed, but I thought he was doing great. I mean, he just, graduated from high school, got his captain's license, and I thought everything was moving forward, not backwards. So.
And did you get that sense from him?
Yes.
Do you know if he was in counseling in that period, June of 2014, June,
I
July
know-
of 2014?
I know one of the days we looked at what counselors were in the area with our insurance. I know that he went to see someone in Fall River.
Okay.
It was about in June 2014.
And he discussed with you that he wanted to go and see someone?
Yes.
And did he say why?
He actually wanted to go see a cognitive behavioral therapist. That was his goal. But
Why did he want to see a cognitive behavioral
he
therapist?
thought maybe that person would, I don't know, kind of change his way of thinking.
Did he think he had problems with his memory?
Yes.
What did he say about that?
He just said, I feel like I have memory loss a lot of times, and evidently he did not. I think it was just his anxiety that made him feel that way.
In that time frame where he mentioned that he wanted to go see someone, did you learn whether or not he was on medication at that time, June, July of 2014?
Yeah, he started taking his Celexa again and trazodone, I believe.
And how do you know those were medications that he was taking?
He told me.
In June, did he ever mention he wanted to harm himself?
No.
When you mentioned that he had a computer, did you have a computer in your home?
Yes.
And what type of computer was that?
It's an Apple iMac.
Did he have access to that?
Yes.
And the laptop that he had, did he use that at your home?
Yes.
Did you ever see him in June or July searching for suicide websites or anything like that?
No.
And at that time, in the summer of 2014, who was he friendly with?
In the summer of 2014.
Yes.
Girlfriends, boyfriends.
No, just regular friends. What group of kids would he hang around?
He spent a lot of time with Ariana
And what's Ariana's last name?
Taylor and Louie.
Sorry, the second name?
Louie, yeah, and Tom Gamma.
Tom? Did any of his friends ever express to you that they had concerns about his mental health?
No.
Again, that first few weeks of July, say July 1st, up until your son passed away, did you ever talk to Michelle Carter?
No.
I'm going to direct your attention to July 12th, 2014. That was the last day you saw your son. What did you do that day?
The girls wanted to go to the speech in Westport, and he wanted to come with us.
Had you seen him that morning? Well, let me ask you this. What time was it that the plan was to go
He
to
was
the
with
beach?
me that morning. He was with me the night before,
And so the night before would have been on the 11th of July.
the 12th, the 11th, yes.
What was he doing at your home the 11th of July?
And we just, we made dinner and he was there with us and slept home that night.
Did you see him on his phone texting?
He was always doing that.
And so now, the morning hours of July 12th, 2014, what's the plan and what time is it that you go to the beach?
I know, we went late. I don't know, he went to his dad's house to get his bathing suit.
Okay, so he had clothing still at his dad's house. And
Yes.
in order to go to the beach, he had to go to his dad's house to get his bathing suit.
Mm-hmm.
How was his demeanor on that day?
That's fine. Didn't feel like anything was unusual.
Did you see him with any, well, let me ask you this. When he went to his dad's house, what kind of a car was he driving?
His truck,
What kind of a truck did he drive?
it's a Ford, I believe 250,
What color?
diesel, black,
The diesel truck.
very loud.
And did you ever go in this truck?
Yeah, he took me to work a few times that summer before he passed.
Did you ever see any generators or water pumps or anything in this truck when you were driving with him?
No.
those types of equipment, water pumps and generators, was those something that his father's tugboat business would have?
Yes.
So after he came back from his dad with his bathing suit, did you all go to the beach?
Yeah, we went to get Morgan's friend Natalie. We picked her up, and then her mother was going to meet us there. Afterwards, we stopped at Stop and Shop, and I think it was probably the very first time that my son was eating guacamole, which I told him it was delicious, and got these and he really liked it. He was eating tortilla chips and guacamole on the way to the beach.
And both of his sisters were with him?
Yes,
And a friend named Natalie?
yes.
What car were you all in when you went to the beach?
We took my boyfriend's car.
How long did you stay at the beach?
We probably got there around noontime, 1. We probably stayed until almost 4.
And during that time, were you constantly in Conrad's presence?
Yeah, we took a long walk on the beach.
What did you talk about?
Life, what was going to happen.
What did he say was
Kind of
going to
laughed, you know, we made some jokes. Some people on the beach were wearing little bathing suits, and we were kind of joking about that.
Was he laughing?
Mhm.
What was he saying about what was going to happen in the future?
I just asked him about school, and he says, I'm not sure, Mom, right now about, you know, how I feel right now. I said, well, it really doesn't matter. You got your captain's license. You can work with Dad until you figure things out. Everything doesn't have to happen, you know. You don't have to worry about anything.
Now, when you were walking with him on the beach, did he ever express that he wanted to harm himself?
No.
From the time, from noontime till about 4, did you ever see him using his phone while he was at the beach?
Yeah, he asked me to go sit in the car, and I'm like, Conrad, why would you want to? It's so warm out, and why would you want to do that? So he went to, because I guess there was no reception on the beach, so he wanted to leave and go into the parking lot. I didn't think, I mean, hey, you know, kids, teenagers want their phones with them all the time, so.
How long do you think that he was up in the parking lot area?
Well, my friend Jody, when she came to meet us at the beach, she saw him in the parking lot on his phone. He was probably gone for maybe half hour.
Okay.
And then he came back and sat down, and Morgan went to get some clam cakes. And that was the last thing that I shared with him, that we ate together.
And so then you left the beach?
Yeah, we left the beach, and then the girls wanted to get ice cream at a place nearby, and the line was so long. So I asked him, I said, when we get back, could you take them for ice cream for me?
What did he say?
He did.
Did he seem happy?
He seemed fine, yeah. I gave him my credit card, and he took my car, and he got them whatever they wanted. And Camden told me he had a hot dog and a lime Ricky.
What car did they go in to go to the ice cream?
I had a Volvo station wagon.
What time did they come home from having ice cream?
Must have been around 5:30, so,
And this is now 5:30 on July 12th, Saturday evening.
yes.
What were your plans for that night?
I just had a few people come over. We didn't really have any plans. My boyfriend was making dinner for all of us.
And at some point after 5:30, did Conrad leave the home?
He did.
What did he tell you?
When he was sitting there, my boyfriend made a joke with him about, you know, something, and he was smiling, and maybe a half hour later, I remember I was standing in the kitchen at the sink, and I turned, and he said, Mom, I'm going to go to Ariana's. And I said, you going to be back for dinner? He's like, no, I don't think so. I said, well, all right, I'll just let me know what your plans are later, and that was it.
That was the last time you saw him?
Mm.
What time did he leave?
I want to say it was a little around 6 o'clock.
And when he left, what did he leave in?
I think he just had a t-shirt and shorts.
No, I mean, what kind of vehicle?
Oh, his truck.
you see him take anything with him when he left?
No.
Did you try to contact him later that night?
Yes.
And what time was that?
It was after 10.
10 p.m.?
Yeah.
And how did you try to contact him?
I just texted him and I asked him, when do you think you're going to be home?
Did he reply to your text?
No.
Was that normal for him?
At times, I mean, if he was, with his friends and just,
And what made you text him at that time, wanting to know where he was or when he was coming home?
because Camden got a text message from Michelle.
And how did you learn about that?
Camden told me, she's like, I don't know what to say, Mom, because he's at Ariana's, and Michelle is saying that they're boyfriend and girlfriend now, and I don't know what to say. And I said, well, just say that he's at Dad's house, because you know how girls they get jealous.
Was that the truth?
I'm sorry?
Was that the truth that he was at his dad's house?
No, he was at Ariana's.
That's what he told you.
That's what he told me.
Did you ever hear from Conrad that night?
My son?
Yes.
No.
So at 5 a.m., directing attention to around 5 a.m. the next morning, which is now July 13th, 2014.
I texted him again in the middle of the night.
What time?
I want to say it was about 1:30. I woke up. I had probably fallen asleep around 11. I woke up around 1:30 and his truck wasn't there. And that was not like him to not. The week before, he had a fire with Ariana, and I think he came home at 2 in the morning. So that's why I wasn't very shocked. But he never not came home.
So when you woke up and saw that his truck wasn't there at 1 a.m., you texted him? And did you get any response?
I just said, I don't know if it was at that moment, that time, 5:30 or whatever, but I just got in the car with Holly. Holly was just my dog. She's Conrad's dog. She was 2 months. I got her in May, so 2 months. She was a couple of months old. She was born in March, so she was just so small, and I just put her in the car, and we went by Ariana's, and his truck wasn't there.
Okay, wait, ask me to keep your voice up so we can hear you. So wait, I just want to make sure that we have the time frame right. So you texted him at 1 because his truck wasn't there, and then you went back to sleep, and you woke up at 5, and you took the dog, put her in the car, and where did you go?
I drove by Ariana's.
And where did Ariana live at that time?
She lives in Rochester.
And what was the reason that you were driving by Ariana's?
I wanted to see if his truck was there.
And what happened when you drove by Ariana's?
His truck wasn't there.
What did you do next?
I didn't have her phone number, so I called his dad, and I asked him, I said, I'm freaking out. I don't know where Co is. And he said, well, check my house 'cause I'm not here, So I went by his house. He wasn't there. And,
So you went by his dad's house?
Yeah, so he finally got me Ariana's phone number, and so she came over to the house. She helped me look for him.
Where were the girls, your girls at this point?
They were in Fairhaven with me. They wanted to go to Waterways for the day, and I said, I can't. I don't know where your brother is. I can't take you. So we ended up taking them in the morning, but I got in touch with the Mattapoisett and Fairhaven police officer.
I want to slow you down right here. What time, first of all, which police department did you call first?
Mattapoisett,
And what was the reason for that?
because he lived in Mattapoisett.
And after, what did you tell them?
I just told him I can't find my son, and he said, well, given the circumstance prior of his first suicide attempt, they said they'll, because he was 18 at the time, so they didn't feel like they should look for an 18-year-old. So
And did they ask you how long he'd been missing?
they told me to. I don't remember if I told them, but they told me to direct it to the Fairhaven Police Department.
Did you do that?
Yes.
And do you recall about what time on the 13th that you called the Fairhaven Police?
I don't know, maybe 10:30 in the morning.
At some point, did a Fairhaven officer come to your home and
Yes.
speak with you? And without getting into the conversation, you told them essentially what your concerns were?
Yes.
And did you give them a description of your son
Yes,
and a description of the vehicle?
yes.
Did you have his license plate number? Did you know his registration?
No, I did not.
No, at the time, did you know?
No.
Did you make any attempt